Imagine pulling over to check your GPS, only to find yourself handcuffed, accused, and humiliated all because of a snap judgment. But what if the man being detained wasn't just anyone? What if he had the power to make one call that would bring the Pentagon to the officer's doorstep? This is the true story of General Carlton Hayes, a lesson in power, perception, and justice. General Carlton D. Hayes had driven this stretch of highway to 180 in Georgia countless times. The long roads, the empty fields, the small-town gas stations, he knew them well. But today, his GPS was acting up. Seeing a gravel pull-off near a faded green sign for Ellaville, he decided to stop for a moment. As he put his car in park and tapped his encrypted military-grade phone, he heard the sound of crunching gravel behind him. In his rearview mirror, flashing red and blue lights spun. A county sheriff's car had pulled up, no sirens, just lights. The driver's door opened, and out stepped a tall woman with blonde hair tied in a tight bun, aviator sunglasses shielding her eyes, and a hand resting on her holstered gun. No greeting, no request for license and registration. Instead, she tapped hard on his window. Tap, 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 dot, dot. Carlton lowered it halfway. "Afternoon, officer." "What are you doing out here?" she snapped. "Pulled over to check my GPS," he said calmly. She squinted and glanced past him into the car. "Where are you headed?" Her tone wasn't curiosity, it was control. Carlton read her name tag, Wilburn. "Just correcting my route," he replied evenly. Wilburn stepped back and unclipped the strap on her holster. "I'm gonna need you to step out of the vehicle." "For checking my GPS?" Carlton asked. "You're on private land. This area has a history of illegal dumping," she stated. "You fit the profile." The profile, Carlton exhaled slowly. He had been in high-pressure situations before: Iraq, Bosnia, even the halls of Washington, D.C., but this wasn't proper protocol. "I'll step out," he said evenly. "But to be clear, I've done nothing wrong." "You're being uncooperative," she shot back. Carlton frowned. "I've complied with every word you said." She ordered him to place his hands on the trunk. He hesitated. "Ma'am, I'm a federal officer. My ID is inside my vehicle. Please allow me to retrieve it." "I said, hands on the trunk." She grabbed his arm, twisted him, and slammed his palm against the warm metal. A few passing cars slowed. A woman in one car rolled down her window and raised her phone. A teenager in the back seat was already recording. The silence was thick. People weren't just watching, they were waiting. "I respectfully request that you call your supervisor," Carlton said steadily, "or allow me to retrieve my ID." "You don't make requests right now," Wilburn snapped. "You wait." Carlton stayed calm. "I'm Lieutenant General Carlton Hayes. My identification is in my briefcase inside the car." Wilburn scoffed. "You expect me to believe that?" Carlton let the silence answer for him. "You don't have to believe it, just check." But she didn't. Instead, she radioed in, muttering the words "suspicious male and possibly armed." "I'm not carrying a weapon," Carlton said firmly. "You people usually are," she muttered. Carlton blinked slowly. "You people." At that moment, the teenager recording zoomed in on something in the back seat. A neatly folded jacket with a military insignia and 3 stars stitched into the collar. "Dad," the boy whispered. "He's Army. Look at his jacket." Another police car pulled up. Deputy Lamar Boyd, a seasoned officer with a salt and pepper beard, stepped out. He approached Carlton's car and opened the back door. "Sir, may I ask your name?" Boyd said. "Lieutenant General Carlton Hayes, United States Army." Boyd blinked. "Did she see your ID?" She had it in her hand. Boyd turned to Wilburn, who stiffened. He stepped away to make a call. Minutes later, 3 black SUVs rolled up federal vehicles. Out stepped Colonel Errol Gaines, a high-ranking officer well known in military circles. Gaines walked past Boyd and Wilburn without a word and opened the car door himself. "Sir," he said, "are you all right?" Carlton nodded. "Fine, just bruised pride." Gaines turned to Boyd. "Who's in charge here?" Boyd pointed toward Wilburn. She initiated the stop. Gaines faced her. "Do you know who that man is?" Wilburn squared her shoulders. "He didn't provide proper ID. You put him in cuffs after he handed you federal ID," Gaines said. "That's a 3-star general you just detained." Wilburn's face went pale. Sheriff Roger Nix arrived soon after. He took one look at the scene and asked, "Somebody want to tell me what the hell is going on here?" Wilburn tried to defend herself. His vehicle was suspicious. "I followed department procedure." "Did you run his tags?" "No." "Did you check the ID he gave you?" I didn't think it was real." Sheriff Nix shook his head. "Tracy, this man could have you dismissed with one call, and he hasn't. That alone should tell you something." In the days that followed, the video of the incident spread like wildfire. By the next morning, it had millions of views. Protests formed outside the sheriff's office. Journalists uncovered Wilburn's history: 3 prior complaints of racial profiling, all quietly dismissed. Within a week, Wilburn was fired. The sheriff's office released a cold, official statement, but the public saw the truth. As for General Hayes, he never gave a fiery speech or held a press conference. But at a veterans forum, he spoke about the power of restraint. When you're wronged, everything in you wants to hit back. But real power isn't measured by how hard you hit, it's measured by how much you choose not to. Some lessons don't need shouting, they just need to be seen. And this time, the whole world was watching. If this story moved you, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to Unfolded Tales Explained. Hit the bell icon so you never miss an eye-opening story like this one.